What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Talking in Ovals. If you are a running fan, throwing fan, jumping fan, all-around athletics fan, you found yourself in the right place. I'm Alex Cuesta. My partner in crime over there is Dave Hyatt. What's going on, brother?
If anybody who follows this sport did not get a little emotional watching the men's marathon with two teammates going 1-2,
Yeah.
it was just awesome. And first time marathon debuter winning the women's race. I think America can actually do something there. But
dominating the women's race. O'Keefe was a monster.
She was a monster, and it was just, it's always funny seeing people go up in distance, like seeing Jenny Simpson try. She didn't finish, but I have to give her credit, man. That's a grueling race.
And Sarah Hall had a really touching
fourth place
social media post, and
fourth
say,
place,
yeah, that this one hurts more, but Sarah's a warrior. She'll be back. But so before we get into the fun stuff, today is Tuesday, February 6th of 2024, episode 74. We're getting up there almost to the century mark. If you like what you hear today, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars, Spotify and iTunes, spread this word of mouth, and find us on the socials at Talking in Oval. Speaking of the marathon trials, I mentioned our Marist alum, Spencer Bossy Johnson, was competing last week, came in ranked 154, finished 42nd overall and less than a minute off his PR in that grueling, crappy weather for a marathon. So all of Marist is proud of Spencer. We're pumped. And there was also a River North individual, if I'm correct.
JP Flavin, yep.
Yep. Finished, high, ran really well. Inspiration to all of Ocean County, Shore Conference, Jersey. So, it was just awesome to watch. So we're going to jump in real quick. Last week's episode, Phil Grove, flow track announcer at Mile Split for Pennsylvania and Ohio. And, you could find them. Old school track was, if I could compare him to any show, Dave, it's unfair comparison because both of these guys are different, but he's so much like Jim in a lot of ways. Jim Lambert, just knowledge upon knowledge. You go to Jim for Jersey, you want to go to Phil to talk Pennsylvania. It's like the things that they pull out. If you're a track nerd, you'll love it. So go give a listen. It was a fantastic show. So let's jump into PRs because, again, it is that season. We are getting PRs and we're pumped for it. So I'm going to start off our friends over at Red Arrow Track Club over in Michigan. We always love hearing their PRs. They only have 3 this week. They took a small group. 10th grader Henry Robinson PR'd in the 60 at 7.72. And 12th grader Alex Moyer PR'd in the 1600, 4:43.31, and 12th grader Eli Tony in the 200 at 24:14. So congrats to all of you in Michigan. And then over at your current school, Hyatt, Manasquan, the 4x8 girls won the meet at Ocean Breeze, ran a 9:44 and is 6th best in the state so far. And Chris Reyes ran a big PR of a 2:01 in the 800. So that's mine. Hyatt, you're up.
Our buddies over at South Brunswick, we have Matthew Pierre wins through the shot put 49 feet and a half inch to place second in Central Jersey Group 4.
Oh, I think we have a little bit of freezage over there. So we'll see. I'll take over real quick. So Westfield, they were the sectional champs, and Peter Del Rey threw a big PR of 6.59 in the 55 dash for North 2. So we're excited. Sorry, Hyatt, you froze for a second there.
Yeah, I know. My internet is a little wonky tonight, so we'll just do what we can.
So unfortunately, more people are going to have to hear more of me instead of Dave, and nobody wants to hear me. Everyone comes here to hear Dave, so I apologize to everyone. So let's get to this week's show. We are excited because, this coach messaged us a little while back and was like, hey, love your stuff, want to jump on. And like a doofus head, I'm just sitting there trying to talk to a bunch of people. And thank God that he was persistent and was like, hey, I have this awesome runner. We have a Ocean County Shore Conference connection, and we're pumped to finally get him on and with his athlete. So we have Coach Ryan Rafferty, head cross country coach at North Burlington, and a former Jackson Memorial Monmouth University alum, which we
Jackson Liberty.
Oh, Jackson Memorial.
Jackson Memorial. I am wrong.
Don't say Liberty. That's mean. He wants to fight you now. And also his incredible athlete, 11th grader Liliah, not Lila, Liliah Gordon, really fast runner, cross country distance runner over at North Burlington County Regional High School. What is going on, Ryan and Liliah?
Hey, how's it going?
Everyone doing well out there? I'm excited to have you both on. And like I said, Ryan, thank you for getting in contact with us because we always just love having, the great, short conference, Ocean County connection. And you being a Monmouth person, we had on Coach Compagni a little bit ago, and we love it. We love it. And also, we had on Jordan Turney, who is now coaching over there as well with the decathletes. So the connection is strong. So I want to start off right away, and we're going to go age before beauty here. We're going to talk to you, Ryan. We always like to ask, oh, Ryan's giving me a face. We always like to ask all of our coaches, our athletes, when did you get the spark? When did you want to start being a runner?
So funny enough, yeah, actually, I want to start out by saying, I did want to give, JP Flavin some love there because I used to, even though we were kind of rivals in high school, we graduated the same year. He's a good dude. I worked out with him a bunch through the years, and definitely can't keep up with him anymore. But I got to give him some love because he's a great dude. So yeah, no, funny enough, I was a football guy. I played football probably all the way up till my freshman year. But in middle school, my mom made me go out for outdoor track, and I completely did not want to do it. In sixth grade, she was like, "You have to go," and I'm like, "No, I'm not doing it." And I shook it off. I was able to shake it out. But seventh grade, she's like, "No, you have to do it this time." So I showed up, and you know how they kind of make you do everything on like that first week of practice to figure out what it is you're gonna do.
Yep.
And I ended up like beating everyone in the distance races. Never gone in a distance race in my life, or distance run in my life, and so that kind of was like the start of it. And so I ended up still playing football my freshman year over at Jackson Memorial. Was the quarterback. Got pummeled a little bit because I was a lot skinnier than everybody else was. But I played, and I ended up, going over to indoor track and doing outdoor track. Yeah, and I think the big thing for me was that thing that clicked. I remember, running at the freshman novice like Ocean County championships that year. And
Was that still at Red Bank at the time, or did they move it over to the Atlantic Club in Lakewood and that random tennis court track? They had random things over there.
this would have been outdoors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was, oh God, where was it? It was at Central Regional. Where it
Okay.
was
That's
that when that
great
facility
facility
kind of
too,
was,
yeah.
yeah, brand new and everything. And was just kind of getting going over there. But yeah, so I ended up winning the mile that day. And I think I ran on the 4x4, and something just clicked in my head, like, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm gonna go to college for these kinds of things, and it's gonna help me get into college. And so I came home, and I remember sitting in the basement with my dad. We're watching some baseball, and he's like, "So what's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't think I'm gonna go back to football, Dad." And he was like, "No, man, like it's all right. Like that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that."
It's
Like,
always like a nervous thing, right? Like when you've been
yeah,
doing it for so long, you don't want to disappoint your parents, and you're just like, I'm not doing that. And then like the relief when they're just like, no, it's cool. I didn't
yeah,
think you were
no,
going
right. You put all those,
Go for it. Yep.
you put all those years of like time and money into like standing by the football field and watching me play, and football is just one of those sports where it's like, it's a brotherhood, and everyone sticks with it and stays with it,
I
and
played freshman ball, did cross country for 2 years, and went back as a senior.
yeah, right. And
Yeah.
but somehow I instead of finding that brotherhood with football, I ended up finding a brotherhood with my track and field, guys, and my cross country friends.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much what kind of got my spark. I think that was like what was like, hey, I'm gonna drop this football thing and stop getting pummeled on the football field and maybe run a little bit around an oval.
And I mean, and you probably were getting pummeled because Jackson is good at football and they're big and they have big individuals. So yeah, it's not like Manchester where we're not that big. Like you can get away being small in Manchester. So Lilia, same question for you. when did you get the spark of, I want to be a runner, I want to do this, and I want to continue to do this?
Yeah, so I started out playing soccer, like I feel like a lot of runners do.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, I played soccer on travel team for a while. I tried like basketball and softball when I was younger, and I didn't really stick with any of them except for when I kind of found soccer. And so I played soccer for a while, and just decided to start, running some fun runs while my mom did like 10Ks and stuff. And just for fitness for soccer. And I remember there was like a fundraiser for, I think it was like my mom's friend's son's baseball team, and it was a mile. So I ran the mile, and I ended up beating like all the 13-year-old boys in this mile. And my mom was like, yeah, we should probably sign you up for another one. And I was like, okay, like just training for soccer. And then I slowly got into like junior Olympics and stuff like that. And I ended up winning states like my first time running it. And I was like, okay, like maybe I could be good at this. And then my mom just kept signing me up for stuff. And eventually I stopped playing soccer around 7th grade and just focused on running.
That's awesome. I think Junior Olympics is one of like the biggest things to get young athletes to really enjoy track because it sounds so great, right? I'm in the Junior Olympics. I'm a junior Olympian. It's like, it is cool. It's really special. Like you have great athletes that go there, but it's definitely a good way to like have everyone start sipping that Kool-Aid of being a runner and then going through the pain of miles upon miles upon miles upon miles, right? But it's worth it in the end. So, Coach, give me some memories that you have, some of your best memories, high school, college over at Monmouth. What were some of your best memories of being a runner?
So I would say some of my best memories, I would say probably my biggest memory was when I was junior indoors at the bubble, the Meet of Champions. Well, I guess you'd say groups. I ended up winning Group 4 that year. I believe that was like probably 2015 or something like that. So I ended up winning Group 4, which, as we know, Group 4 is like a gauntlet.
Oh yeah, that's a good win.
Yeah. So, against some really great runners. If you remember Nikhil Pulamud from West Windsor South.
Yep.
And then who's the other kid? Tim Basin was also in that West Windsor South kid. So it definitely was like, one of those moments that kind of stood out to me in high school. A week later, ended up showing up to the Meet of Champions and getting third to a friend of mine at the time from Running Works Camp, which is something I'm heavily involved with now, and Liliah and a bunch of her teammates go to. But kid I made friends with there, his name is Luke Patella. He ran for Haddon Township. He ended up winning that year. Real nice guy, very friendly. But that was a big moment for me. And then I would say probably my senior year, we really weren't expected to like be all that great of a team. But we kind of just grinded through the season, and maybe we could squeak out a 5th place from sectionals into groups to try to get into groups. And it was downpouring that day. I remember it downpouring. We had mud all over us. It was at Delsey when South Jersey sectionals was at Delsey. Yeah. So we ended up getting third that day, and so it was a really cool experience for me and the team. It was kind of my first experience in high school where like the team was doing it with me.
Yeah.
And so that was a really cool experience. And then in college, I could talk forever about some of the opportunities that Coach Joe and if you know who
only go into the ones that you can say. No,
Yeah,
no,
right.
only the thing. You're athletes here,
Yeah.
remember?
Well, I should probably probably keep some of that stuff in my back pocket for down the road.
You don't want Liliah to have ammo on you at practice.
Yeah, maybe we could have like another podcast together where like Liliah's not here, and for not Liliah's ears, we'll put in the title.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, right. A lot of great experiences at Monmouth. I mean, I would say it was definitely a really hard adjustment for me to like be at college and not have a lot of structure.
Yeah.
And Lily and I have talked about that before and how to adjust with that. But I eventually found my way, I would say, and ended up just when I found my way, I would say my junior year, everything just started clicking for the team and started clicking for myself, and ended up, us as a team had our best finish that year ever in the MAC for cross country, which was third. Before that, I think the best they'd ever done was fourth. And so that was pretty big, especially because when you think about it in the MAC, I'm sure you being a Marist guy, it's really like you're getting second place because Iona
just
every year.
Yeah, and the thing is, you weren't there when I was in school. Iona was perennially like second place in the country, and then like second or top 5 in the country. So like you got like Iona light because Ricardo was gone by then. He was over.
Ricardo was gone,
and he was there coaching, and it was kind of like, all right, yeah, and that was but still, even when they were there, they were amazing. They had, they would pull a freshman running sub 4 out of their back pocket. It was like stupid what they could do there.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that was a huge, I feel like that was like a really good shift in the team dynamic over at Monmouth. I feel like when we got there, there was maybe just a little too much dancing happening outside of running. And
A good way to put it.
yeah, right. And so I think that junior year is when the whole team just found a way to make things work and put those puzzle pieces in the right places. And so we got third that cross country season. And then I ended up having a really good indoor season that year. Funny enough, I tell all my kids this, but I talked to Lily about this when sometimes she gets a little bit frustrated with like, hey, nothing's clicking right now. Like, I says, sometimes it's going to take time. I says, and this is what I'm getting to, is that it took me 5 years in order to PR in the mile, and it was a grind. Like, I knew it was there the whole time, and it wasn't like I wasn't putting in the work. I think what it took was maybe just a little bit more getting my mind ready for it, rather than just the fitness. The fitness was always there. It was just prepping my mind.
Yeah.
So I ended up PRing that year in the mile, and that spring. I was having an off like beginning of the year, and I was like, yeah, it's a beginning of the spring season. I'm like, it's all right. I just got to keep, trucking through and I'll be all right. And we showed up on Max that spring, and it ended up that that it was downpouring. I mean, we're talking a full on hurricane. I remember like Coach Joe's got this slicker on, and even the rain's getting through the slicker. And it was just like an absolute monsoon. And I ended up winning Max that in the 1500 that spring. And it to this day, like, is one of those moments that like, just pops up into my mind every once in a while. I was like, wow, that was a really special day for me. And even my teammates, I remember crossing the finish line and them coming up. This is funny. They come up and they try to give me a hug and grab me. And I'm like, please just get off me, because I'm trying to breathe. And I'm like, get off. I can't breathe. Because I just ran my heart out. I gave it everything I had.
People do need to realize winning the 15 in the MAC is no slouch. There's great runners in Ryder, Manhattan, Iona. Even Marist. Like we have some really good guys too that come out of there. So, the 15, you're running a sub 4 effort, because there's guys that run sub 4 in the MAC. So it is. Yeah, it's a real effort there.
There were 2 guys in that race, Jamie D and Liam D. Yep. Who are both at that time were sub 4 milers.
Yep.
And it just was any given day, I showed up, weather was not all right, but I just said, hey, it's anyone's day. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's awesome. So it's always, walking down memory lane's fun. So Liliah, you haven't done the college experience yet, but you are going through high school. You did run when you were younger. So how about you? What are some great memories that you've had so far throughout your running career?
Yeah, so definitely that, like I mentioned before, that first time running like Junior Olympics was awesome and really, important to me because my mom really brought me through that. I ran unattached a lot before I ran for Bob Andrews. And so my mom took me from, states to regionals to nationals in JOs. And then eventually she was like, all right, we just need you to run with some girls. So, we found Gone Running through Jessica Abbott and Emma Zawatsky. Yep. And then I joined their team and we all clicked kind of like right away. And, we've all been really close ever since. And it was, at the time, it was really great to get to run with like a group of girls who love running like I do. So that was a lot of fun. And then I remember a lot from, just running with them and learning a lot about running from them. And then going into middle school, still ran with the girls a lot. And then going into high school, just seeing like the team grow with me is like really cool to see. And it's just a lot of fun to see all the improvement with my team.
Yeah, great. That's just, it's fantastic. And, Bob, if you are listening somehow to this podcast, we will get you on. We had your son on twice, so it is time for you to come on now. So we definitely need to have Bob Andrews, legend in every which way in New Jersey running. So absolutely.
I have to add, as a middle schooler, right?
He's doing a great job coaching at Manalapan.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, he is. What I was gonna say was, I have to add, as a middle schooler, I had her as a 7th grader. I teach middle school and I coach the high school kids. Yeah, I have her as a 7th grader, and I have no idea she's a runner. And this is COVID, so everything's through the screen, right? So I can't even see her face. I don't even know who she is, basically. She's just someone I literally talk to, and she never responds back. But one day she's like, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do my work this weekend or whatever it was this week because I'm going to a meet. And I was like, all right, she's either a swimmer or she's a runner.
Yeah.
And so then she goes, oh, I'm going to a meet down in Virginia, like a track meet. And I was like, all right, have some fun, like whatever. Like
and for you, you're like, that's an excused absence for me.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's great. So,
yes.
I don't really know much.
There's no work due. You were good.
Yeah, right. And I don't know much about her, but like, because all I know is she's going to this track meet, right? So I'm like, oh, cool. Like I'm gonna have another kid in my track team at the high school. So, she comes back that Monday, and I was like, oh, how'd you run? And she goes, well, I ran like 5:18, and I was like, 5:18?
Excuse me?
I was like, what? I was like, and this is like, over messages. So I'm like, that's got to be a typo. So then like the next time the next time I like talked to her, she's like, oh, I went to another meet and ran like, similar time. Right. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is going to be like Northern Burlington's next biggest star. And
did it click to you? It's like the internet exists. Let me check this. Like, did you start searching?
I don't know why it did.
Like I can actually fact check if it's a typo. Like that can happen.
I don't know why it didn't. I think after the second time it did. And so then that's when I emailed mom and I was like, hey, like I'm the high school coach, like, and I kind of gave a little bit of my like, some of my background so that I was hoping that she wouldn't go to a Catholic school or something. And she ended up coming to Northern Burlington and everything worked out.
Yeah. And you know what? I gotta say, like, we've had, the parochial kids, like we've had, Peyton Hollis on and things like that. And we talked to Jimmy with shoes in, we've talked to Coach McCafferty, and we love our parochial people, but score one for the public school. Okay. I'm a public school kid. Right. I think everybody does it when you're at these bigger meets and you see the private school kids. It doesn't matter if you hate that other public school kid. You're like, we're working together. Like, we're going to make sure they can't box us out. Okay. Screw this. Like we're making sure. Yeah. Public school. Like you could not like each other, but once it was always for us, it was CBA, right? It was CBA whenever. God. And so you remember some really good runners from Jackson, Monroe Kearns and Chris Carl.
Oh, of course. They used to come by all the time, chat with me. Yep.
Yeah, and I ran against them a ton. And, Chris was on when I was a little bit younger. We were both in the 32 and 16. And then when I was later, I was running the 8, and that was Monroe. Monroe was a monster in the 8. And like, so we would always sit there. And I remember in both count in conferences, it was me and Monroe and another kid from Lacey. And there was a kid from CBA really good. And we're like, he's not placing. And we're just like, and we made sure like we went 1, 2, 3, and we made sure that he didn't place. And it was exactly what we wanted. So we were pumped about that. And there's always that pride. So I want to jump to our next topic. Footlocker Nationals.
Yes.
I mean, you are another athlete, Liliah, that we have had that has gone there. We've had a few, we had Jimmy. We talked to Emma, who went there last year and stuff like that. So what was that experience like? What was
Perez brothers?
Yep, exactly. What was it like running at the Footlocker Nationals and, running pretty damn well?
Yeah, it was overall like an amazing experience. I tried getting in my freshman and sophomore year. And, like sophomore year, I was like just off. And, I remember looking back and being like, all right, she's a senior, she was a senior, and just listing down, like if all the seniors were gone, like where I would place. I'm like, all right, like I still have to like beat this many people. And then I went to Boston and, everything just clicked. Like I found myself pretty much right away in top 10 positioning. And I just had a great race and I felt really good. And then I remember finishing and it took me like hours after to realize like that just happened. Like my mom was like so excited and I'm like just in such like shock. And then we traveled to California, which I've never been to. So that whole thing was exciting too. And, being able to stay in a hotel room with a girl who's like, like I said kind of before about just loving the sport as much as I do and really being able to talk and kind of pick the brains of other girls who enjoy the sport and learning from, the seniors about, the recruiting process and all that was awesome. And yeah, and just getting to meet a lot of people was a lot of fun.
So what was it like now sitting there and it's like, you're a North Burlington girl, you're a Jersey girl. Now all of a sudden you're thrust in with the Northeast team. What was that like? Was there a quick bond there? Like, hey, we got to rep Northeast. Was there a little bit like, so what was that like getting with those girls and being like, hey, like, how did that go down? Was there kind of a pride of like, we want to show out for the Northeast?
Yeah, definitely right away. I think we already kind of started talking about just with like the couple girls that I was able to, really click with. Just about, going out there and just, doing our best to represent, the East Coast. Like we found a lot of pride in that. And so we definitely bonded a lot over, where we were from and, just running our hearts out for our area.
What was it like being the only person from the state to qualify and make it? Like, did you feel any mounted pressure or was it just kind of, you're just kind of in your own and you're going to run your own race?
Yeah, it was definitely different just because, a lot of the other girls had girls at least from the area, some even like, their own teammates and stuff. So it was definitely a little bit tough going in, not really knowing anybody. But it was definitely, another thing of just like being able to like, I have to run for my state. Like I'm the only person representing the state this year. Like, just being able to go out there and not just represent, like the East Coast, but my state and my school and all that.
Love it.
So did you happen to look up like past New Jersey girls that ran at Foot Lockers? Because I know me, if I was going to be the only dude from the state like competing there, I'd be neurotic and I'd start looking up and being like, okay, I have to run better than him. I have to do better. I got to be better. Like, did you do that? Or are you not as much of a psycho as I am?
No, not really. I just kind of, wanted to go out there, especially since this was my first year. I just wanted to go out there, just have fun and, do my best.
So coach, what was it like for you? Did you head out there with
that is definitely the right approach.
Yeah. So definitely that was my first time in California as well. So, you think about it like, I think back to when I was in high school and I'm like, man, like that would be so cool if I could go to Footlocker Nationals, right? And you're like, this has got to happen for me, right? And it never happened for me, unfortunately. So now here I am at coaching. I'm like, man, like this is like one of the pinnacles of like, getting a kid out there to accomplish something like that, right? And accomplish their dreams. And so, like from the start, I always knew that like Liliah was going to have that chance. And so, we just had that regional meet and I have a friend of mine that helps us out every once in a while. His name's Kyle Muller. He ran at Monmouth as well. Mm-hmm. And he just helps out mostly with Liliah because sometimes it's very difficult for me to, watch her race, but then also take care of the other girls on the team as well. So sometimes I'm like, hey, just like follow her around the course a little bit. um, so, or we vice versa, and he does the rest of the crew, and I'll do Liliah. But so he helped me out. We got there that morning at regionals in Boston, and just I was like, hey, listen, like let's do a tempo on the course before she like gets going today. I said, let's get a hard feel for the course and see what's going on. So we did that together, and both. It's funny, like every time we like look at each other, we like literally say this. We say the same thing at the same time of like how to execute this race. And so, yeah, like she said, everything clicked on that day, and just was so proud of her, for showing up on that day and gritting through it. And I think that Boston course is a little bit long, about 200 meters long, is what we were figuring out.
So we'll yell at the Torres boys because
yeah, we did.
Ed Torres that was it Ed that was doing that one?
Yeah, it was Ed, right?
Yeah, I think we can yell.
Jorge
Was one of them.
I think it was Jorge. Yeah, it was Jorge. Jorge, don't call me George.
Yeah, Jorge, don't call me George. There are other former guests of ours. We have fun connections.
yeah.
So
I know.
Coach, are you kind of like me in a sense? Like you get more pride and joy from one of your athletes than you ever did running for yourself, like as an individual. Like there's nothing better than seeing one of your athletes gain something and an accomplishment. That always meant way more to me than anything that I ever did.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely agree. I've never told her this. She's on this like rampage of like trying to get me to cry at all these banquets and stuff. It's absolutely terrible. So she's not. I'm telling her she's never going to accomplish it.
It's gonna happen. Trust me. It's gonna happen.
So,
Coach, it'll happen. It'll happen.
We spend too much time together.
Coach, it'll happen. Senior year, last meet, you'd be like,
not even that. No, Lily, you know when it'll happen? When he's in year like 10 of coaching, you're just getting done with college and you show up at that senior banquet. After college, you go to the high school one and you just start giving a speech about how much coach meant to you and how much your success in college also goes back to things that he still does and Sure AC. You'll see he'll by then too, as we get older, we lose testosterone. So he'll be losing it on the way there. So we'll definitely get him to cry.
I am a weeping mess at times, so I just start crying.
So that's a strategic plan. We're gonna work that. Liliah, we'll do that on the side. We'll work that out.
It already happened, but he doesn't want to admit it. So
yeah. All right, whatever, Lil.
Did you cry when she made it? Did you shed a tear when she made it?
No, I didn't. I was maybe holding back a little bit of tears, but
it's all good, Coach.
Welling up doesn't count as long as it doesn't go down the cheek, right? The welling up is okay.
Exactly. No, but what I was going to say is that definitely, like, across all things that I've accomplished in my running career, like that was probably one of the like most memorable and like special. Probably it definitely is the most memorable and special moment like in my entire running career, just because I know how much that we've put in together, right? It's not just like me putting in the work every day, right? Or me coming up with workouts, right? I know that what she goes through. I know what her mother goes through on a daily basis. I know what her father goes through on a daily basis to get to where we are at, right? And so, that was just such a special moment for myself in my own coaching career and running career. But it also meant so much to me because I knew how much it meant to everyone else.
And and it's lots of fun as a coach because like we live vicariously through our athletes, but not in a selfish way. Like in a way of you're doing something I could never imagine doing, and I'm freaking pumped for you. Like there's no like, it's not like do it for me. It's do it for you, and I'm just gonna be here and enjoy the show, like, and just be proud of every step of the way and watching you fail, watching you succeed, watching everything that you went through, and talking you off the ledge when you're doing just fine. Which
and listen,
for distance runners, that happens more often than not. But
especially as a young coach too, it's almost like, like, will I ever have anyone this good ever again? Because like
I'm telling the school, like, hey,
coaches who coach young, and then
Yeah, I'm telling the school, I'm like, hey, this is kind of a big deal. Like, there only have been a handful of girls in South Jersey to ever do this.
Hey,
So
Lily, earmuffs. We don't want to let your head get too big. Earmuffs. No.
yeah. So I was like, I think I need a couple days off to go to California, if that's okay. So, and they were in full support, which was great. And yeah.
So, Liliah, what has the experience of Footlockers given to you in terms of going out there, seeing all these incredible athletes, right? You're running against the best in the country. And, that's always the goal. You're going to go to college and want to do the same thing. But how has this helped you prepare? Is this teaching you to prepare a little differently for indoor and outdoor and in terms of how you want to train? And is this giving you a little bit more of an insight of what you need to do in order to get to the level you want to get to?
Yeah, definitely. We went about it a little bit differently than we did the past 2 years, which definitely helped considering the result. But yeah, and then there was just a lot I learned there that, I saw other girls doing that I'm like, oh, I could probably be doing more of this. So it was really like kind of eye-opening going there and seeing like my roommate was like one of the top girls that ended up placing there, and just seeing like her like nightly routine like really inspired me to be like, oh, like, doing like these little things to really, continue to be and even go farther than, what I did there.
Are you prepared to be like that girl that now, not only your teammates, but going forth, like there's got to be a little bit of something different, right? You're still friends with everyone, but now as you were looking at those girls preparing, now they're looking at you because you went to Foot Lockers and you're accomplishing all these great things. So is there any extra pressure on you to be a little more of a role model, do the right things a little more and, cross your T's and dot your I's?
Yeah, definitely. Even after like not too long after Foot Locker, I had a girl message me just saying that how much she looks up to me for, stuff and how she like just started running and really looks up to me and stuff for her running. So I just gave her, some advice that I know and told her, to keep me updated with how her season goes. And it's just really cool to see that, there, like I was once in her spot, like just starting and reaching out to girls. And it's just really neat to look back on that stuff and, be able to kind of give back to like people who are just starting out. So I find that really neat. So definitely there's a little bit of pressure, but also I really enjoy that, people look up to me and that I can help people out.
So speaking of looking up, really quick, Dave, I have an idea for, Coach you and Coach Rafferty that I think could be kind of freaking cool. Would you guys should talk to your schools and your districts about allowing your athletes every once in a while to go down and do a practice at the middle school and just let the middle school athletes like watch how high school athletes work and watch you guys do a hard workout and something like that. Because like Liliah said, she got that message of a girl that's looking up to her and things like that. And I feel like when you're in middle school, high schoolers are superheroes. They're adults. They're incredible. And I feel like that can be something cool for the sport, right? Like a showcase. So not even like the trackies that are there, like baseball players will get to see some grown men and women come out there and run really fast. I feel like that could be something cool to create outreach and make the programs bigger.
Yeah. I think that's actually, believe it or not, I think it's actually against the NJSIA rules.
Which wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't. Yeah, so as far as I know, you're allowed to like have a almost like a conditioning session, like where like the high school athletes come down and they basically like run a practice for the middle school kids. So the middle school kids are doing the practice, but the high school kids are running it. But like for like,
I don't think you can practice.
Right.
Same team.
Unfortunately, as ridiculous as that is, you know what I mean? Like,
we're not touching each other; it's running.
Come on, right? Like some of the stuff that comes up. Yeah,
we could do a whole podcast about the end.
I know.
Well, so I have a question. When you get to the level that you're at, you are running a lot of meets on your own, like you said, traveling with mom and dad or going somewhere with coach. How much do you enjoy the moments like last night where you get to run a relay with your teammates? Like, is that as meaningful to you? Or because I know, like me personally, I used to love running. I mean, I was not at your level, but I used to love the camaraderie of running with my three of my teammates. So do you still enjoy that aspect of the sport where you get to run relays with your teammates?
Yeah, definitely. Last night was, just really special to me to be able to give, like an opportunity to my teammates to go to meet a champs because, as of right now, we're listed to going to meet a champs, and it's just really special to me to be able to put, my teammates, and the girls I hang out with every day, in that position. And I just love being able to, run the relays. And, after I finished, Kayla, Zoe, and Emma were all the three girls I ran with. We were like jumping for joy, so excited because we were able to beat, the school record. And we were just off of sub 10, but now we know, like going into like outdoor, like that's something we can definitely do. So that was a big confidence booster for the girls. And it's just so excited to see them get like, so excited about like getting that school record. That's like, really special to me.
I love it.
So I want to switch gears. We mentioned Gone Running. We mentioned Shore AC. I'm going to start off with you, Liliah. What has running in, Shore AC and then Gone Running, what has this done for you as a runner? And do you think that you could be where you are right now in your high school career without, the tutelage of a Bob Andrews and things like that, and the camaraderie that you got to build with some of the, fastest girls in the state already?
Yeah. Yeah. So when I ran unattached, my mom kind of took me as far as she could with the knowledge that she had, just, researching and all that. And so, yeah, when we decided to go on running, she really thought that it was time to go. And so we went, and, Bob was able to give me a really, really good base, going into middle school and then into high school. So I definitely wouldn't have had the base that I did without him. And he was very, didn't want to push us too early. He didn't want us peaking in youth. He said, you don't want to even peak in high school either. So he was big on just, not doing too much while also being competitive. And so that was a very good setup for me going into middle school and high school. And it was just great to be able to run with a group of girls. It was I dropped a lot of time when I first joined there, just being able to, chase after the girls in workouts, and until finally I started running right with them, and then I would lead some reps. And so I definitely think that had a big impact on where I am now, just because of, the base and the knowledge that he gave. And even now, like, I'll see him at meets and, he checks in. So it's really great to have him, there.
Did you have the ability to meet Robbie and Josette at all?
I met Robbie. I haven't met Josette yet, but I've met Robbie a couple times.
You got to yell at Bob and tell him. Yeah, you got to yell at Bob and say he needs to bring Josette around, because Josette's amazing. When we had her and Robbie on the show, it's adorable. They're two lovebirds too. It's the cutest thing of all time. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, Robbie and Josette.
I like that. That was a good show.
Oh, it was so much fun. It was a blast to do. So, Ryan, I want to jump to you. So you mentioned, you work with Shore AC in terms of things like that. What capacity are you working with Shore AC? Because I'm not going to lie, growing up, Shore AC, whenever they were the singlets, it was your 50 plus, your 45 plus people showing up to the 5K, rocking the Shore AC, or they were over at Boston when I was in college at BU, running in the Masters events and things like that. And there was never really a younger group of Shore AC athletes, and now you have Liliah and you're involved, and you're like a high schooler to a lot of those individuals in that group. So what capacity are you working with Shore AC?
Right. Yeah. So basically, I graduated from college. I started an alumni group with some of my friends that we just kind of wear these fun singlets, and coach was like, come over to Shore AC, because he had retired at the time. And he's over there helping them out. I mean, he's doing 1,000 different things. That's what Coach Joe does, right?
He just doesn't stop. Retirement made him busier.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Pretty soon, I think he needs to take over the NJSIA. I keep saying that to him.
Oh, that would be amazing for the state. My God, he should.
Right? So anyways,
I miss Billy Bruno. I miss him.
I agree. I miss Bill Bruno as well. Great dude. Yep. Phenomenal for our sport. Did some great things. But yeah, so he's like, come over. And I'm like, I'm really trying to hold out because I'm running with my buddies, my alumni group. And, and part of that reason is like you said, like it always feels like an over 55, 50-55 group, right? So I'm like, I don't necessarily want to run with that group. Like I want some youth, right? So um, he's like, listen, I'll help you grow this a little bit, but like, we do want to start like an Olympic development group. And so, sure enough, last spring, funny enough, I'm wearing a Shore AC sweatshirt, and Lil's like making fun of me, like, "Oh, you're gonna join Shore AC?" And she's like, "Keep pushing my buttons." And I'm not gonna say that she's the reason why I joined, but I ended up joining. And one of the biggest reasons why I joined was because Coach Joe was going to get me the opportunity to run at Milrose, and I think that's really what kind of sparked it for me, right? Like they were like, "Oh, you'll get to run at Milrose." So I said, "All right, sounds good." I ran at Milrose for Shore AC, and then that's when I was like, "Oh, this was really fun. Let me try to grow this group." So yeah, basically Coach Joe and I, and another friend of mine who's helping out a little bit as well. His name is Matt Farrell. He's one of the area reps for New Balance. We all kind of speared the dragon a little bit of trying to grow this Olympic development group for Shore AC. So it's called Shore AC National. And in a span of, I would say, probably about 2 months, we got like 20 guys like that. I think part of that was probably because some guys were graduating college, and that helped out.
Oh yeah.
Like huge. And it just was word of mouth, and then people were like, "This is exciting." Funny enough, though, it's not just Shore guys.
Right.
It's some South Jersey crew. If you guys know the name, Jack Shea.
Heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Cherokee guy. I knew him from Running Works, and then he went out to NAU and ended up running sub 14 out there for the Lumberjacks. And he came home, and he was like, we were coaching actually together one day at a meet, and he's like, "I'm just lost in my running career. I don't know where to go." And I'm like, "That's fantastic. You should join Shore AC."
That's great news for me.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
loss is my gain.
So once he joined, it was like another South Jersey guy after another. And then, a bunch of Shore guys graduated. Lou DiLorenzio from Monmouth, like, graduated, right? And he was like, "Yeah, I'm joining you." So we just, had this group of guys that wanted to, show out and make some noise for Shore AC and continue that legendary tradition that Shore AC has, right, in the past, and carries out through their Masters division right now, for sure, right? They're one of the best in the nation.
They're well known in the nation, yeah. For their Masters, they are. When they show up to Masters events, they're expected to place and win.
Yeah, right. And so we kind of were like, man, like we want to bring that to Shore AC, when we want to bring that young youth back to Shore AC. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I'm in charge of right now, of recruiting guys for that group, and helping the group grow, getting sponsors for different events that we might have based off of Shore AC National. And then also like creating a schedule for some of the guys, and, advocating. Coach Joe and I are advocating for certain guys to be able to run at this race or that race, and kind of get some race entries taken care of, which is good. So yeah, I mean, that's the capacity of like what I do for Shore AC right now, and how we're trying to grow that. So yeah, I mean, if anyone's listening, come join Shore AC National. We're a up and coming group, and we're, trying to make some noise here in the New Jersey running clubs, series.
Yeah, definitely. If you're Jersey, graduate, just getting off college, your career's done, male or female, because there's a bunch of guys. I think you said you only have 2 girls, so
two girls right now. Yeah.
So let's get it going. Let's get the ladies there, and
Absolutely.
Liliah said she already pledged to me that when she graduates college, she's gonna join Shore AC.
Yep.
That'll be a good get, because by then she'll be a national champion. So have a national champ on Shore AC. So I'm calling it right now. We're gonna have the first national champ on Shore AC. Now be Liliah
in the 10K. I keep messing with her with that.
Listen, she'll be switching to a half marathon by the time she gets to use.
Yep, right? Yeah. Exactly like Connor Mance, right?
Exactly. She's going to just be keeping on bumping up. So, and I do have to say, when that happens, you're coming on the show again, because we'll still be doing this 6-7 years down the road. So we'll be having, we've had national champions and Olympic gold medals on, so we're having you on
Absolutely.
as well.
Alrighty.
So, speaking of running, college, all that type of stuff, Lilia, the recruiting process, you are entrenched in it right now being a junior. That is when it is crazy. The most comes at you. I don't know if you heard the show at all. I'm not offended if you've never listened to us, but we've had Emma Zawatsky on, we had Peyton Hollis on, we've had, Jimmy Wischusen recently on, and they've all talked about their recruiting process and things like that. What has it been like for you so far going through the whirlwind that is being a top-notch, especially New Jersey runner, and going through recruiting?
Yeah, it's definitely gets a little overwhelming at times, but I'm trying to take it kind of slow right now, just enjoying it because I'm still relatively early.
Right.
I still have a lot of time to think about it, but just as of right now, I'm just talking to coaches and stuff, planning a couple official visits, but nothing too much, just kind of enjoying the process. And yeah.
Now, do you have a deadline of when you would like to sign? Because I know we had on some people, I want to get it done by junior year. And then Emma was like, I'm going to wait. Like, I'm not going to force it. I'm going to wait until, you have a deadline in your head. Because she, a couple of them did mention how be a distraction at times when you're going through this whole process and then you're trying to race. So do you have like an internal deadline, or you just kind of just let it fall how it falls?
Yeah, it's definitely tempting to kind of like say you would do it in the spring, just because then you can train all summer and not have to worry about anything like that. But I definitely think I'm going to be a later commit, probably fall, just because I really want to put a lot of thought into it. And, a lot of people say that they've figured it out, like as soon as I've heard a couple of people say, they take the official and they know right where they want to go. But, it's the next 4 years of my life. So I want to make the right decision.
So what are you looking for in
It's a huge choice. I say take your time.
So what are you looking for kind of in a college in terms of academic wise, and what are you looking for in a team? Because, the one of the things that a lot of the, athletes have said to us is going through the recruiting process, you need to realize not only are you trying to sell yourself to the team, that coach also needs to be selling themselves to you because, like you said, it's a huge decision. You want to go there, like that's going to be, my coach at Marist and, Coach Ryan will probably say the same thing with Coach Joe. Like, they're your second dad. They're your other parent. Like, you look up to them so much and you spend so much time with them. You have to feel comfortable. So what is it you're looking for in a college? And, I won't be offended if you say Marist is your choice, but just,
She ain't saying that.
Marist. No. So what are you looking for?
That ain't
I
happening.
definitely want somewhere where I have, a good connection with the coach. I definitely have that connection with Rafferty. So I definitely, already having that with Rafferty, I definitely want to go somewhere where I have a connection like that with the coach. And, I want to join a team that is very, very close knit and like a family, especially because, you're away from home and like, that's definitely a very, different experience. So I want to go somewhere where I'm going to feel comfortable with the girls, comfortable with the coach enough to, be okay with being away from home. And then I always talk to coaches about, racing my first year. That's a big, very important thing to me because, if I'm going to go somewhere, I want to make an impact right away, and that's just a very important thing for me is I'm big on, wanting to support the team and help the team. And so that's huge for me.
Academically, do you know what you want to major in yet? Have you not decided? Is that really factoring into schools you look at yet?
I want to get into forensic science, which
Nice.
can kind of go many different ways. Like, I could go somewhere where I major in forensics or I can major in biology or chemistry. So that's not too much of like a stressor. Like I don't have to go right into that. So that's not too big of a sway as of right now.
That's nice. So that gives you some flexibility with that.
Yeah.
So, Coach, how much are you part of this process?
I think you want to ask how much are you part of the process, and how hands-on are you?
All up to her
Yeah. So
there to offer some Yes.
yeah,
Sorry.
my involvement with this is I wouldn't say it's too much. It's mostly on an advice basis. Obviously, I can't make the decision for her, and I shouldn't be, right? But I definitely I definitely try to give her advice as much as I can, right? Like I always, she knows Coach Joe very well from Shore AC and everything. So she knows that the connection that I do have with him. And she also understands the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And so like she hears me talk about it like a lot that like, not only was Coach Joe a really good coach and was very successful, but like he actually cared about me as a human being, and that's why I still to this day have a connection with him. And so I say like, and then on top of that, I talk about my teammates and how much of a connection that meant to me and how much it got me through a lot of things. So I just try to give her some encouragement with those kind of things. We've talked about the major thing a couple times, about how she can take the different avenues, which plays into her cards very well. Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about, definitely talked about how college can be a scary place and how, but it also can be a very, genuine and good place for you. But there's a lot that you can get into, right? And so being careful about, what kinds of groups that you get into and those kinds of things are definitely things we talk about. But she's a great kid, and I know she's going to make the right choice for herself. And yeah, I just try to give her advice as much as I possibly can, and give her a little bit of insight of like what college was like for me, without giving her too much details.
Of course.
Wait till she graduates, and then you can start giving her the real details.
But yeah, I try to just give her, enough to understand that, how she can make a really good choice for herself.
Yeah, definitely. And, when it comes down to like, go where you feel comfortable. Don't worry. Again, you want to go somewhere where you're going to be challenged, right? Like where you're not going to, but you also don't go there for that reason. Go there because you're comfortable. You love the team. And do you guys get like 7 million official visits now? Like how many? Like we had 3 when I was going through recruiting. Like, what do you guys have? Like 10 now or something? Is it up to 10? It's
I think it's 5.
Right? No, it was.
So you get as many as you want, I think now.
Oh, wow.
It's unlimited?
Yeah.
It's unlimited now. When I was in high school, it was 5.
5.
Oh, wow.
It was 3 when I was
3.
there. Like,
Right?
I would be calling schools left and right, say, hey.
And like you could take as many unofficials, which that's what you kind of skated around that because it would be like you'd show up to campus and be like, oh, hey, coach, I happen to be here. Not like I haven't been like messaging you and emailing you left and right, but it was like you kind of did those. But
I was mind boggled when she told me that. I was like, yo, you have 5, right? And she's like, no, I have unlimited. I was like, what?
But you know what though? That's also, it's good and terrible. Like it's good for the athletes, right? Because you can go and you can go figure out what you need to do.
Yeah.
As a coach, I would hate that as a collegiate coach because it'll be like, I'm trying to put on my best presentation, but then you can go anywhere else. Like when it was limited, at least you kind of knew. You would ask an athlete like, oh, okay, you taking officials anywhere else? And it was up to the athlete to let you know. But I mean, wow, that's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. So
I love how Alex said message and email. We didn't have email when I was in high school.
You guys, you were still using Flintstone cars, okay? You had,
I don't know about that,
there,
but
you were running with your feet underneath, okay?
Chisel in the rock.
He's Dave Rubble. But so, last thing I want to ask you about, recruiting and stuff.
Did have a rubber track though. I did have a rubber track.
You did have a rubber track, so you weren't with the Cinder. So I kind of lost myself with that last thing, Liliah. But so we're gonna jump in to the last thing that I want to talk to you both about. We ask everyone at the end of our shows a big important question because the main purpose of this show is to grow the sport, is to make people more interested in the casual part of the sport, which is why we always start off with the story of our people so they can hear where everyone's come from. I'm going to start off with you, Liliah. If you had a magic wand and you can kind of use your power to improve this sport and make it so that more people would want to be into it as as football, soccer, all that other stuff, we can get more casual fans in. What would you do to change it to get more casual fans?
Yeah, so I kind of have like an example for this a little bit. So when I was I was in Boston for a race at BU, and after they had a thing at the track at New Balance where they had like signings and meetings of like all these different athletes, and like Noah Lyles was there, and so many athletes, and we got there. And there was probably only like 25 people like there to like get signatures. And we're like, even Noah was like, is this everybody? Because like, and it was a free event too. So like we thought more people would be there. And so yeah, and the boys ran right before it was I think it was like the boys invite, and there was not like really, it was only like the people who were there to watch the boys race, like family members and coaches, and then like me and probably like 2 other girls that I ran with at the meet. And I was like, this is insane. So I think better like marketing and advertising for stuff like this. And because my mom just found it like on Twitter or something, like she just found it randomly.
And it's Noah Lyles. Like, how is Noah Lyles like not being like plastered on the side of BU? Like, athletes are coming in like, hey, once you're done here, go see Noah. Like, that would be logical, right? Like,
yeah.
That's
and then I guess just building up like rivalries, because I know a lot of other sports are big on like rivalries. And I think the closest thing we've had in a while is the whole like Knighton and Lyles thing. And, after that, there was really nothing much else. So I feel like even not just necessarily with athletes, but like pro teams and stuff, like there's never anything like that, which is huge. I know, huge in soccer, huge in football,
even huge in high school and college, because right, like, because in high school you're North Burlington, you guys have rivals. Like Monmouth has a rival, Marist, we hated Iona, like, but you have those schools, and like you get up for those, like, and we've talked about this before, where we need a pro circuit, we need pro teams, we need something like that. So I absolutely agree with you. Marketing and creating rivalries, and they're solely trying to do that, right? A lot of the sprinters are trying to do, like Noah Lyles and Fred Curley, I think, are promoting like a showdown, and which, I don't know, we get these promotions and then someone tweaks a toenail and then they're out. So it's kind of part of the problem, where you get these big marketing things and then someone's out and it hurts it. So, Coach, I want to go to your answer. How would you fix the sport to make it bigger and better for everyone?
I honestly think that sports betting would really just help it take off.
You're the second person that said that.
Yeah, I really do. It just, you see how like insane sports betting makes people.
Absolutely.
Right? Like it just makes, it would only make sense if like that was implemented into track and field, cross country, or any.
I think Ocean Breeze just did a fantasy thing, right? Is that what Wilfredo?
Yeah, I mean,
they did like a fantasy pick 'em before meet.
You had to pick with the winners of
each event. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm in a fantasy NASCAR league, and it works great. It's racing, right?
Fast car.
Yeah, right. It's racing, so it's doable, right? We could do a fantasy league, we do sports betting. I think that definitely could help the sport a lot, and I agree with Liliah that there's definitely not enough rivalries going on. And
it's too damn nice.
Yeah.
And they don't race.
I definitely don't think it's on TV enough. And this is the final. This is the kicker. Every little race is on every different platform now.
That's been brought up a bunch.
Like, why? Why do we have this sport on that platform and that and that? And you're like, am I gonna buy all these platforms just to watch all these different things? I don't know.
They're all paid services too. Like you have to pay for all of them, like Peacock or FlowTrack, and I mean, we're gonna buy because we love track, but the average fan is like, first of all, they don't even know what FlowTrack is.
Right. So yeah.
I completely agree.
Number one for me.
And I think sports betting too, and like, I think, what was it, Sarah that brought it up? Sarah Slattery was the one that brought it up.
Sarah Slattery,
yep.
And when she said it, the one thing I said is, athletes need to be okay with, I feel like it has to be closer to horse racing. And obviously we're not horses, but since not many people are going to know all the athletes at a Diamond League race, like, right? So you got to kind of do like a win, place, or show. And you have to see how they've done in the last 4 events in this thing. Like, I feel like that would give, like, because sports bettors are crazy. They love reading into that stuff. It's like, oh, well, in the 5K, he just ran over at this race. He just ran a 13:50. So he's running against these guys. And so I feel like it would have to be a win, place, or show thing. And I feel like that could work. But I think people would do it. I think betting's huge. I think we definitely need to get betting. So, Ryan, if you're good with tech, go ahead and get an app together.
I am not, but Coach Kyle, our volunteer, is. So
And tell him to get an app together, and we will support him with it. And when he gets it done, he can come on Talking Nobles and we can promote it. And then we'll take 0.1% because we promoted, and that 0.1, when it gets huge, will set us all up.
sounds good.
But all right, everyone, this was an awesome show.
Yeah.
Coach Ryan, Liliah, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you so much. You guys were so awesome. Yeah, like I said, when I was, message you guys back and forth, I listen all the time. Right, I haven't gotten through all the episodes yet, but I listen. I've probably listened to about like 30 or so of them. You guys are great. You guys are doing great things for this sport and great things for New Jersey. Right, so I appreciate that.
We will eventually expand. We are trying to eventually expand out, but we're happy to start taking over New Jersey. And so once again, that is Coach Ryan Rafferty. He is the head XC coach over at Northern Burlington, former Jackson Memorial and Marist Monmouth U alumni. Sorry, I saw the M. It's a reaction, okay? And then also Liliah Gordon, junior over at Northern Burlington, and just a fantastic overall distance runner, cross country runner. So Liliah, you had a few things you want to talk about before we go with the South Jersey coaches and stuff like that?
Yeah, just thinking like South Jersey Coaches Association and stuff, Tim and Chris Callanan and Dave Walsh, just for always advocating for our athletes. And it's really important to all of us, just all the little things that they do for us. And then Ruben Frank for really keeping the memories of each and every performance alive with his articles. And I just think it's amazing what they all do.
Rube's the man.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And so nice to hear like a young athlete being able to give props like that. And I have to say, we say this all the time, the high schoolers that have been on the show are so much more well put together than I ever was in high school. So, it's a credit to you guys, a credit to your parents, a credit to everything. So fantastic. And your Instagram, Liliah_Gordon_runs. Is that where people can follow you in your running journey?
Yep.
Do you post a lot on there? Or are you always on there?
Just a decent amount, yeah.
Good. So you can go on there. You could definitely follow her, and she has many great things going in her career. Hyatt battled through some internet connections, but
sorry guys. Sometimes you just can't fix technology. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's happened to us all. It's happened to me as the host of shows, which is absolutely atrocious when that happens. So, but he battled through. Everyone, if you like what you heard, give us a like, share, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, Spotify and iTunes, and spread this word of mouth. Go look for us on the socials at Talking in Ovals. We'll be back again next week with another fantastic episode. And, hopefully Hyatt will have his internet good and it won't be mine, knock on wood. And we'll have a great time. Everyone, thank you so much for coming on. And thanks everyone for listening. So long.